Hi there, folks. Johnny here from jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk, and today, as we are just the night before Christmas Eve, I wanted to take the time to wish everybody a very happy Christmas and to wish you all the very, very best for 2016. And I also wanted to talk about this year in the studio, this 2015 in the studio. It's been an amazing year. We've got such a lot done, such a lot achieved here, and we've moved forward in so many ways, in so many areas, in incredible ways. And I have a lot of people actually to thank for their help, for their support, for their encouragement, and for their contributions to everything that we do here as a studio. So I'm going to talk about that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to start by going all the way back to the beginning of the year. In fact, to last Christmas, to Christmas 2014. Christmas 2014, we had all the acoustic treatment up in the walls, and I think I had the keyboards over on this side, because at the moment they're on this side, but I had them on this side, I think, to start with, and it was just becoming a nightmare because I was tripping over cables, and therefore the keyboards were always threatening to fall off their stands as a result. So I moved everything around, and given that this room is really small, that's quite a challenge. So I had to basically take everything out into the hallway, and then gradually move it all back in. It was a bit like Tetris on a sort of grand scale, but we got everything moved in. And I was still at that point just recovering from having had cellulitis on my left leg, which was incredibly painful. And I had also just been recovering from having a really, really bad migraine as well. So that was Christmas. Christmas itself last year was really, really good. And I had got quite a lot of mixes done. I was still pretty new to Studio One at that point because we had switched in the I think it was the middle of November last year, we switched from Cubase to Studio One. And so I had Studio One version 2.6. I think it was 2.5? I can't remember which. And so I was still pretty new and just beginning to get myself around it and all its incredible capabilities. And so that was probably the big thing at the start of 2015, was having Studio One version 2, and then quickly into Studio One 2.6, which was fantastic. Just the features that the guys at Presonus added to Studio One, and so I have been working on a lot of projects. I've been working on a lot of mixes for some clients and doing actually a lot of session work. That's one of the things I found particularly valuable about Studio One is just being able to do session work on bass or on keyboards or even backing vocals for clients, and just being able to send them via Dropbox around the world. That's just been a huge thing. So I've been able to work with people around the world without ever having to leave the comfort of this very small room in Edinburgh. So it's been fantastic. And just the contacts I've made through Facebook, through the Presonus Studio One group at the start, I made a lot of good friends who I still have to this very day, and who I've worked with quite a lot. And probably the main person to come out of that was my good friend Johnny Gibe in Chicago, in the good old United States of America, which is actually where my sister lives. Actually, she's been there for 21 years. So Johnny and I very quickly became very good friends, and I pretty much became a part of what he does, a part of his home studio trainer and his business. And so I've been working with him a lot over the last 12 months, and helped him develop some Facebook groups for supporting users of Studio One. So we've got the Home Studio Trainer support group for Studio One, And we also just recently launched the songwriters group, and that's been really fantastic. And just to see how quickly that has grown and developed, and the impact that that's had on both of our businesses has been brilliant. But more to the point, the impact that we're able to have on a lot of songwriters, artists, musicians, and people just, wanting to get started with songwriting, or wanting to get started in Studio One and finding their feet around it. So they're asking lots of terrific questions, and we're able to help. So I am part of Jonny's admin team for the support group, and I am adminning the songwriters group with him directly. And out of that came just very recently, in fact, just the last couple of months, in fact, I think it was just the last couple of weeks actually, which would be a joint venture of ours, which is called lipshamandguide.com, Songwriting Simplified, which is what we're about. We're all about simplifying songwriting, stripping it back to its bare essentials so that new songwriters can quickly find their way around all the elements that need to go into making a good song, so that they can get started and they can get moving forward. And then Jonny and I are putting together a lot of training resources. He's doing videos, I'm doing videos, and we're doing joint videos together as well. We have just started doing a podcast called the Songwriting Simplified Podcast, and we're only 2 or 3 episodes into that now, and we've got some great subject matter that we are exploring in those videos. And you can either watch the video or you can have the audio version if you're on your iPod or your iPhone or something like that, and you're wanting to be out and about, or you want to listen on a car journey. You can get the audio version as well. That's something we're working towards making available, so you've got the video and the audio version. So that's been really cool. We've got lots of stuff coming up with that, actually, incidentally, into the start of 2016. We've got live streams coming up. We've got more videos. We've got question and answer sessions. It's just going to be awesome. We're hitting the ground running with that quite seriously. Plus, every week we will be releasing a new podcast video on a different subject with a different songwriting tip at the end. So what we have with the general loose format of that podcast is we have a general chat between Jonny and I over a particular subject to do with songwriting, and then at the end of it we have a quick tip, a short songwriting tip, which either Jonny or I will share. So there's lots happening and has been happening over the course of this year. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. And of course, in May, just to go back a few months, in May this year, the guys at Presonus dropped Studio One version 3 onto the world, and it blew everybody's minds. It certainly blew mine, because it was almost like it was a complete rewrite of Studio One. And it's amazing. It's got a whole bunch of new features, a whole bunch of new sounds, new sound libraries. Everything's been updated. All of the plugins have been given a bit of an overhaul. Given a bit of an overhaul. And the new look is fantastic, and it's really customizable. You can have it really dark if you want, or you can have it really bright. You can have it red, you can have it blue, you can have it pink. You can have whatever colors you want. Plus you can have a different color for each of your channel strips on the console, and also in the arranger view, you can have the whole thing colorized. So you can make it as colorful as you want, which is really, really cool. So the graphics are fantastic. The audio engine remains superb. And in fact, I think with version 3, it's even better, I would argue. So we love Studio One version 3 here at Jonny Lipsham Studios. And I use it every day. And it's amazing just how quickly I can get work done. I can get mixes done. I can master very quickly. I can also have Dropbox as a folder in the browser. which is really great for doing sessions because, you know, just in the course of this year, I did some work for a guy called Paul Ladendorf, who, I don't know if I've pronounced your name right there, Paul, but sorry if I haven't. And I met him through Jonny, and he's a guitar player, singer-songwriter, has a little bit of a sort of James Taylor thing going on with his music, which is really great, really liked it. And so I did some bass and some keyboards for him. I did some Fender Rhodes and some fretless bass on his song that he was working on. And we did it all by basically, I would have my Dropbox folder open in the browser in Studio One, and I just dragged in the scratch tracks that he had done for me into a song which I set at the correct tempo, just dragged them in, and then I played my bass part, or I played the piano, the Fender Rhodes part that I did, and then I pretty much rendered any effects that I wanted. Like I think I had a little bit of a hint of a chorus on the Fender Rhodes, and the bass I went through an amp simulator, I rendered that, and then I just drag it back, and off it goes, straight into Dropbox. And it's amazing, because, you know, just within a few minutes, Paul has the songs in his Dropbox folder, he can open Studio One and drag them in. And so I can collaborate really, really easily with people all around the world. And that's just been a really big thing for me, actually, here. Being able to work with guys like Paul and working with Jonny as well. And Skype, again. Skype is another fantastic piece of software that we've made a lot of use of this year. Being able to do the podcast with Jonny means that we use Skype to do that. And the results are tremendous. I mean, the quality of the audio is really terrific. The quality of the picture is really outstanding as well. So there's been a lot that's gone on here. And so thinking forward to 2016, where are we going? Well, we've got, as I say, we've got Lipsham and Gybe ongoing. We've got the home studio trainer groups in Facebook, which are ongoing. Plus, I am currently working with a guy called Bob David Bell to do an EP for him. In fact, he has just released the one of the songs from that EP, which we just kind of like pre-released as a Christmas download. So we recorded, mixed and mastered that right here in this room, and in this very studio. And so that's now going out to the world. And you'll need to go to Bob David Bell's Facebook page to be able to get that. He has a link to that. I don't have one directly, but he does. And so half the proceeds are going to a brilliant charity called Circle, which works with people in some really, really desperate, tough situations, who are having tremendous struggles with their lives. And they need a lot of funding to be able to do the work with those people that they do. And Bob works for them, and he does a lot of terrific work, as well as writing some really great songs. And just, it's been an absolute pleasure to work on this EP with him, because he is a terrific performer. He has a terrific voice. He's a really, really solid guitar player. And so it's just dead easy to record him, and then it's even easier to mix because the recordings are that good. And that's one of the big learning things for me, is to make sure that the recordings, the capture, is as good as you can possibly get it, so that when you run it into Studio One and you're at the mixing phase, you don't really need to do a lot of massive dramatic EQs or massive dramatic compression to get the tracks to sit nicely in the mix. You know, it just speeds everything up. If the recordings are good, then the mix is a lot easier. And that then means when it comes to mastering it, that the mastering phase is a lot easier. All you're doing, generally speaking, at that point with good capture is you're working on just getting the volume right to a good commercial level. And it's that simple. If all the other phases are done really well. So that's been the big learning thing for me. So taking that forward into 2016, applying that to all the recordings that are done here, and mixes and masters and session work that's done here, just making sure that all the recordings, all the mixes that follow on from that are done to the highest possible standard. Best capture equals easier mixing equals easier mastering, and all of that equals better quality product. That's been the big learning thing for me. So taking that forward, I have Bob's EP on the go, and I have my own EP on the go, which I'm aiming to release around about the springtime. I'll have an exact date probably in the new year, exactly when that's going to come out. So anyway, that pretty much summarizes 2015 and some of the things that we're going to be looking forward to. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like this video if you like what we're doing, and share it around. Make sure people get to know about what we are doing here. Please go and check out the Home Studio Trainer support group for Studio One and the songwriting group for Studio One, and also go and check out lipshamandguibe.com. There's just a plethora of great songwriting resources that either Jonny and I have produced, or we've just mined the internet to bring you those resources, so you don't have to go looking for it. We have it. So there's lots of great stuff on there. So go check that out. Also check out my own website, jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. That's jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. And you can also use the contact button there, and you can send me an email. Any questions you got, any suggestions you've got for things that you'd like to see on the website in terms of content, I'm all ears, and I'll see what I can do for you. So going forward, lots more videos to come on songwriting, on mixing, tricks, tips, you name it. I've got it all coming for 2016. So in the meantime, have a great Christmas and a very successful and happy 2016. Bye for now.